The bootlickers, much more than meets the eye. The bootlickers, sellouts in disguise. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s with this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes, 1987 at online booksellers everywhere. There was a firestorm of controversy earlier this month when a trio of Tennessee lawmakers decided to organize a protest and enter the Tennessee State House of Representatives. Now, around April 4th, these three individuals, Gloria Johnson, who was white, Justin Jones, and Justin Pearson, who are black, decided to orchestrate a protest to march into the Tennessee State House of Representatives in the aftermath of the mass shooting that Audrey Hale participated in at the Covenant School, which led to the deaths of 3 9-year-olds and 3 adults. And as these 3 Tennessee state representatives, Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson, decided to march up to the State House and into the Tennessee State House of Representatives, Jones and Pearson had these bullhorns and were looking to go out here and make a loud protest demanding that there be gun control laws instated in the state of Tennessee, where most Tennessee citizens who buy guns legally have a right to conceal carry, and these individuals wanted to protest gun violence in the state. Now, as these individuals made their protest, Jones, Pearson, and Johnson, they wound up running into the primarily Republican State House of Representatives, and as they went and did their protest, which violated the policies of the State House, they wound up having to be punished by the majority Republican State House of Representatives, which voted to expel Jones and Pearson from the Tennessee State House of Representatives, while white female Gloria Johnson was able to keep her seat by 1 vote. And as this was going on, what happened was the narrative was made to make it appear that Jones and Johnson were being targeted as related to their race, and this was the narrative that was presented in the mainstream media, that the Republicans in the State House were actively discriminating against Jones and Pearson, which could be possible, but what was actually going on behind the scenes as related to the subtle politics transpiring around everyone was that most of the black voters in Tennessee and the black community in the United States was being manipulated by a group of bootlicks in disguise. And when I take a critical examination of the so-called Tennessee 3, which became the Tennessee 2, it basically proves a point that Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, made, and this quote that he made was, "You never let a serious crisis go to waste." And what Rahm Emanuel says, he means by that is, it's an opportunity to do things you could not do before. And what was done here as related to the crisis of the mass shooting that Audrey Hale participated in was we had a group of individuals, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, looking to use that crisis to go out here and be able to do things that the Blue Party would not be able to do before. And what they were able to do that they weren't able to do before was find a new and insidious way to manipulate black voters and manipulate the feelings of black people. And that was done with these bootlicks in disguise, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, who were made to make it look like they were fighting for black people and made to look like they were fighting for black people's rights. And these individuals, again, they went out here and put on a grand show as related to the crisis that Audrey Hale participated in that mass shooting. And what they wanted to do was make a name for themselves in the black community by looking to use the protest that they orchestrated to make everything about race. What these two bootlicks wanted to do was make it look like they were the ones being targeted by the members of the Red Party, and they wanted to make it look like they were being discriminated against by those members of the Republican Party by saying they were expelled because of their race, even though these individuals orchestrated this whole protest, and they orchestrated this whole protest regarding gun control, trying to make it look like they were fighting for black people, when in actuality these were bootlicks in disguise, and these bootlicks in disguise were not about fighting for black people's issues or fighting to get tangibles for black people. No, they were looking to use race as a way to go out here and further other people's agendas. Because it was very interesting that we never heard of a Justin Jones or a Justin Pearson before the mass shooting that Audrey Hale participated in. It's interesting that we never heard of Jones and Pearson. These guys just come up out of nowhere, orchestrate a protest, and then all of a sudden their protest is covered by the mainstream media, and it's covered to the point where we get Kamala Harris to go meet with them and Joe Biden to go talk to them via conference call, and we get this controversy talking about how these men were ousted out of their seats, even though the city councils that they came from could easily reinstate them, showing us how they were looking to orchestrate this crisis and then use that crisis to go out here and be able to do things they could not do before, and that is go out here and try to find a way to manipulate the black masses. And they possibly could have gotten away with manipulating those black masses if it wasn't for the institution of new black media. Now, new black media has been actively looking to check the paperwork, as Professor Black Truth says, as related to your Jones and Pearson, because when it comes to new black media wants to make sure that when these guys come out here talking this rhetoric, they are walking behind the statements that they make. And it's clear that Jones and Pearson were not walking the walk behind the talk they were saying as related to much of the rhetoric that they were making. While these individuals were out here looking to rile up people's emotions with bullhorns the way the Reverend Al Sharpton used to do in the 80s, their talk wasn't matching their walk, because again, we never saw these individuals before talking about gun control, and you would think these individuals would be talking about this issue as related to black people, with gun violence being one of the major ways that many black people wind up dying and wind up getting shot and injured from. You would think they would have been talking about this issue before, but these individuals, again, didn't want to talk about this issue until it was the alphabet girl, Audrey Hale, who participated in the mass shooting. Then they want to talk about gun violence, and what's even worse, these bootlicks wanted to go out here and try to evoke Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as they were out here looking to manipulate the black masses. And that's the most disgusting thing for me about these bootlicks in disguise. They went out here and put on an image at the Lorraine Hotel where Dr. King was assassinated, looking to talk about gun violence. And again, that's really low, and again, just shows how this blue party and many of their bootlicks were looking to go out here and do things that they could not do before, and again showing us how they are willing to compromise their ethics in order to try to manipulate the black masses. Now, they need to manipulate the black masses, and again, they're desperate to do this because they see that the black masses are no longer swayed by the standard bootlicks like your Al Sharpton and many others that have gone out here talking about voting blue. No, because new black media has made inroads in the black community and among black masses online, they can no longer trust the bootlicks to go out here and get the message out anymore, because most people today are listening to new black media and they're not listening to old bootlicks from the legacy black media. So what they want to do is create a brand new Trojan horse, and that brand new Trojan horse is what they're trying to do with this Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. And what they want to do is use the Trojan horse that goes out here and has the black face and the optics and aesthetics that are appealing to black people in order to push blue party messages and push blue party agendas on black people and get them to support these blue party candidates who won't give black people tangibles in exchange for their vote. What they want to do is go out here and dress up a Justin Jones and a Justin Pearson in an afro and a perm. And what they want to do is put these bootlicks with an afro and a perm out here, going out here, acting like Dr. King, getting black people emotional and getting black people riled up, and get them behind their message and the agenda of the Blue Party, which puts alphabet in front of black issues, goes out here and talks about women's rights in front of black issues, and never wants to talk about bringing tangibles to black people or addressing black issues. And that's the big problem, again, with these bootlicks in disguise. Again, the bootlicks in disguise, they get especially a lot of older black people in their feelings as related to their rhetoric, but their actions don't really do anything to help black people. And again, there were a lot of red flags as related to Jones and Pearson that I started to easily start to see. The first one was them basically coming out of nowhere. That was something I noticed way back in 2011 when actor Jesse Williams won his BET award. And that was one of the things that I automatically looked at, because I remember about Jesse Williams. He came out here of nowhere. They gave him a BET award, and they were looking to use him to push an agenda on black people. However, a lot of more critical thinking brothers and sisters like myself started to see through this guy, who was saying all the right things and had the optics with the black wife and the black children, but again came out of nowhere and was not really actively about black interests. Again, red flags there and red flags here as related to Jones and Pearson, basically coming out of nowhere, orchestrating this protest and looking to use the bullhorns and looking to go out here and shout at black people, believing that black people are supposed to be naive, gullible, and stupid, to fall for this okie doke like many have fell for before, but that those were the days of old black media, and those were the days of the old black community where Pastor Porkchop and many of these other types of activists could easily come in and just sway people with a few glib words. But in these days of new black media, you are not going to be able to run those games in the black community anymore. And it was new black media, again, that started doing the research on the backgrounds of these guys. And as they did the research on the backgrounds of these guys, they soon found them to be bootlicks in disguise. And that just shows us in the black community how we need to really be more vigilant, because everybody shouting at us and telling us what the issues are is not somebody who is on our side. Everybody who is supposed to be representing us isn't really representing us, because again, Jones and Pearson, we did not pick those individuals. And that is a point the late David Carroll made that resonated with me to this day. When he talked about politics, he always said that you are the ones who are supposed to create the agenda, and you are the ones who are supposed to be the ones who pick the candidate. Because when you go out here and create the agenda, and when you go out here and pick the candidates, then your message is the thing that that candidate is going to say when they represent you in a place like a state house of representatives, and you won't have to worry about anything, because if they are following your agenda, they are going to get your message out, and they're not going to be out here looking to vote for somebody else's agenda, because their goal is to get you tangibles, and their job is to represent you because you pick them to get you tangibles. And if they do not get you tangibles, then you do not vote for them because you did not pick them. That, again, is what David Carroll was trying to tell black people, so that they would not fall for these bootlicks in disguise like Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, who want to go out here and want to dictate an agenda to black people. These two are basically, again, bootlicks in disguise who were insidious about their whole plan to get black people on the blue plantation. These bootlicks in disguise, their goal was to get black people to get behind their rhetoric, get them, again, emotional about their rhetoric, using the approaches that Dr. King and other pastors use, trying to get people emotional about the issue of gun control in a concealed carry state, and trying to get people to go out here and vote for the Blue Party and its policies, when those issues that were presented as related to that mass shooting, again, were not about black people's issues. It was all about these two bootlicks in disguise looking to take advantage of a crisis and looking to exploit that crisis to do things that they thought could not be done before. And what they thought they could not do before was find a new way to manipulate black masses, because they see that they're losing support among the black masses, and they're losing support because many black people no longer want to vote as related to the Blue Party, straight down, straight check, as related to their emotions. And you can no longer use buzzwords like democracy to sway the black masses. I mean, that game may have been played in 2022 with many of the white women as related to abortion and preserving so-called democracy. But when it comes to black people, more and more black people are saying we are not about this whole narrative of preserving democracy. We are about bringing tangibles to black people, and if we cannot get tangibles for our vote, it's not our job to go out here and support any candidate. And that's what the bootlicks don't like. And again, they just show how low they will go, because they will take a crisis like that mass shooting at that Christian school, and they will look to exploit it to take advantage of black people. Again, taking a page from the playbook of Rahm Emanuel, looking to go out here and take the crisis that took place at the Covenant School and that mass shooting, and looking to use it to manipulate black masses. And that again shows us how little ethics Justin Jones and Justin Pearson have. Both of these individuals have absolutely no ethics whatsoever, and behind the rhetoric of these bootlicks are individuals who, again, want to get black people off of talking about black issues and black tangibles, and look to manufacture a crisis to further polarize people on race, again showing us how low the ethics of these two individuals are, and showing us how skinfolk ain't kinfolk, and how insidious these black bootlicks are. I mean, there is no lengths that these bootlicks will go in order to go out here and manipulate the black masses. And this is why we have to remain vigilant, and this is why new black media is so important, because it's new black media that will allow us to learn the truth about these bootlicks and the insidious nature that they are out here planning as related to trying to further manipulate black people into supporting the blue agenda. This is what black people really have to be keeping their eyes open for. And I thank God we have new black media, because there was a day in the 80s and the 90s when guys like Justin Jones and Justin Pearson could get away with rhetoric like this based on the color of their skin. But now that we have new black media, we can vet the content of their character. And now that we can vet the content of their character, we know who is who, and we know that we have to keep our eyes open for the bootlicks in disguise. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them in other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.